So we shall continue with chapter 6, or part 6 rather, because it isn't in the chapter. And I just thought I'd add a little something else so that the filming might be more interesting, and I could have done something like this earlier. However, now I'm reading from 5:13 to I think 15:13, which is 3:13, to so where is the verse 15:20? So she is burning vervain and on lighted charcoal before it, and peered through the coils of the smoke, and after a time she clenched her hands in anger.
"Oh, he should have been mine," she muttered. "I'm as fair as she is."
And that evening, because you see, they have insight witches, don't they? And that evening, when the moon had risen, the young fisherman climbed up to the top of the mountain and stood under the branches of the hornbeam. By the way, I'm burning incense. Nothing too sinister there. And it's cinnamon incense, very nice. You can't really smoke it there, can you? There we are. And stood under the branches of the hornbeam. Like a targe of polished metal, the round sea lay at his feet, and the shadows of the fishing boats moved in the little bay. A great owl, with yellow sulphurous eyes, called to him by his name, but he made it no answer. A black dog ran towards him and snarled. He struck it with a rod of willow, and it went away, whining. At midnight the witches came flying through the air like bats.
"Phew!"
they cried, as they lit upon the ground.
"There is someone here we know not."
And they sniffed about and chatted to it.
"Oh, yes, there's someone here. There is something happening. Yes."
And they sniffed about and chatted to each other and made signs.
"Oh, yeah, there is something here, you know."
And chatted to each other and made signs. Lots of all came the young witch with her red hair streaming in the wind. And she wore a dress of gold tissue embroidered with peacock's eyes, and a little cap of green velvet was on her hand. Well.
Where is he? Where is he?"
shrieked the witches when they saw her, but she only laughed, and ran to the hornbeam, and taking the fisherman by the hand, she led him out into the moonlight and began to dance. Round and round they whirled, and the young witch jumped so high that he could see the scarlet heels of her shoes. Then right across the dancers came the sound of the galloping of a horse. But no horse was to be seen, and he felt afraid. Oh, what's going on? I don't know. And then...
"Faster!" cried the witch, and she threw her arms about his neck, and her breath was hot upon his face. "Faster, faster!" she cried, and the earth seemed to spin beneath his feet, and his brain grew troubled, and a great terror fell on him, as of some evil thing that was watching him. And at last he became aware that under the shadow of a rock there was a figure that had not been there before. It was a man dressed in a suit of black velvet, cut in the Spanish fashion. His face was strangely pale, but his lips were like a proud red flower. He seemed weary, and was leaning back, toying in a listless manner with the pommel of his dagger. On the grass beside him lay a plumed hat and a pair of riding gloves gauntleted with gilt lace and sewn with seed pearls wrought into a curious device. A short cloak lined with sables hung from his shoulder, and his delicate white hands were gemmed with rings. Heavy eyelids drooped over his eyes. The young fisherman, watching him as one snared in a spell, At last their eyes met, and wherever he danced it seemed to him that the eyes of the man were upon him. He heard the witch laugh. caught her by the waist and whirled her madly round and round. Suddenly a dog bayed in the wood, and the dancers stopped, and going up 2 by 2, knelt down and kissed the man's hands. As they did so, a little smile touched his proud lips, as a bird's wing touches the water and makes it laugh. But there was disdain in it, and he kept looking at the young fisherman. "Come, let us worship." "Come, let us worship," whispered the witch, and as she led him up, a great desire to do as she besought him seized on him, and he followed her. But when he came close, and without knowing why he did it, he made on his breast the sign of the cross. Okay. And called upon the holy name. No sooner had he done so than the witches screamed like hawks and flew away, and the pallid face that had been watching him twitched with a spasm of pain. The man went over to a little wood and whistled. A jennet with silver trappings came running to meet him, and as he leapt upon the saddle he turned round and looked at the young fisherman sadly.